Hi, everyone, and welcome to my webinar on effective strategies for teaching reading fluency. My name is Riley, and today I'm excited to share these research-based strategies that help students become more confident and engaged readers. I have tried my best to do very intense research on reading fluency and tried my best to explore the best practices for improving fluency, specifically in elementary students. So the goals are, by the end of this webinar, you will be able to understand the role of fluency in reading comprehension, learn evidence-based fluency strategies and how to implement them in your class, explore how competence impacts fluency development, identify ways to assess and track fluency growth in students, and finally, reflect on professional learning and how fluency instruction can improve literacy outcomes. So why does reading fluency matter? Reading fluency is the ability to read text accurately, quickly, and with expression. It serves as a bridge between decoding and comprehension. The research I studied showed that fluent readers comprehend text more effectively, have higher confidence and motivation to read, also enjoy reading, are more engaged in literacy activities. On the contrary, struggling readers often face frustration, disengagement, and avoidance of reading. I was passionate about this topic, and one of the reasons why I decided to do my LOL project on this topic is because I have seen it in my placement as well, but also when I was younger, I struggled with reading fluency and comprehension, and it would be great to have the abilities to let your students love reading and be more engaged with this. So, key research findings from the National Reading Panel. This was published in 2000. Fluency instruction is most effective when it includes modeling repeated practice and meaningful reading experiences. The lack of fluency leads to cognitive overload, preventing students from focusing on the meaning. It's really important that the students know what they are reading and they can understand it and comprehend it, because if they don't have that, they're not really processing the words and they can't do the activities that come after that. A study by Kuhn and Stahl in 2003 found that fluency instruction improved both word recognition and reading comprehension, showing the direct link between fluency and overall literacy success. This reinforces the need for structured fluency practice in the classrooms. So one of the key problems that I investigated during my action research is that many students struggle with reading fluency, which impacts comprehension and confidence. And those two things are so important when you're learning. So the three research questions that I was focusing on: one, what are the most effective strategies for teaching reading fluency to elementary students? Two, how do readers and repeated reading impact fluency and comprehension? And finally, three, what role does confidence play in fluency development, and how can teachers foster it? So in the resources I used from, I'm sorry for my mispronunciation, Timothy Ratinsky, the National Reading Panel, Reading Rockets, and the UFly, University of Florida Literacy Institute. So that last one, I think a lot of us can say that we've seen that in our placements and how effective it is and how the students are very engaged. So I examined these studies to uncover the most effective methods for fluency instruction. So part of my research was talking to my last placement teachers because she was very up to date with all of the knowledge on students reading and all the different programs. So I tried to have these critical sources to prove that UFly and Reader's Theater and repeated reading passages for the students help build fluency. So Reader's Theater, it encourages repeated meaningful practice through scripted reading. It builds expression, phrasing, and confidence. This research is done by Timothy in 2021. Also, repeated reading. That is something I've seen in my placement, and I've tried to do some research on it for this project. Students reread the same text multiple times to improve accuracy and speed. This is effective for struggling readers, which I quote here, Samuel, which was published 1979. Studies show measurable improvements by fluency and comprehension after 4 rereadings. Paired and choral reading. Paired reading is a skill, and when you're paired together, it helps supports developing readers. Choral reading is the whole class reads together to build confidence. I've also seen this in my placement. Research from Kuhn and Stahl 2003 shows increased fluency gains. And explicit fluency instruction. Teaching students phrasing, chunking, and guided oral reading supports these studies from the Literacy How project, which was published in 2020. Modeling fluent reading helps students internalize prosody and expression. So I would like to take a moment to talk about what is fluency. So fluency impacts comprehension, confidence, and overall reading success. Fluency is often the bridge between recognizing words and truly understanding a text, making it a critical skill in literacy development. So, fluency consists of 3 key components: accuracy, the ability to correctly decode and recognize words; automaticity, reading smoothly and quickly with little effort; and prosody, using appropriate expression, tone, and phrasing. Students who struggle with any of these areas may experience difficulties in comprehension because their cognitive resources are focused on decoding rather than understanding the text. Here's a student example that you might have seen in your placement. Imagine a student who reads slowly and struggles with sounding out each word. They may be so focused on individual words that they lose the meaning of the sentence. However, once their fluency improves, their reading becomes more natural, and they can focus on understanding the content rather than just decoding the words. The importance of early intervention. So, research shows that early fluency supports and prevents long-term reading struggles. If fluency is not developed by the end of elementary school, students are at risk of falling behind in all subjects. So, think about a time when you had to read aloud in front of a group. Were you confident? Did fluency affect your ability to understand the material? It's good to think about this, putting yourself in the student's shoes. So, going on about why fluency is so important is because reading fluency is the ability to read the text accurately, and my goal is to explore strategies that not only improve fluency, but also foster a love for reading. So I want to talk about the cognitive load theory. When a student struggles with decoding, their working memory is overwhelmed, leaving little cognitive space for comprehension. By improving fluency, students free up mental resources to focus on meaning. This helps them learn later in life the different subjects without struggling with the comprehension. Students without fluency support may avoid reading, feel embarrassed, struggle with vocabulary, and perform poorly in subjects requiring strong literacy skills like history as well as science. I would like you to take a moment to think to yourself, how does fluency impact reading enjoyment? Can you recall a student in your placement or over your experience working with kids who avoided reading due to fluency struggles? Confidence plays a huge role in fluency development. When a student feels successful, they are more likely to engage with reading. Strategies like readers' theater and choral reading help students practice in a supportive environment, which reduces anxiety and it increases participation. I would also like to talk about the growth mindset connection. So, this is good to teach students that fluency improves with practice. Mistakes are a part of learning, and as teachers, it's really important to know this, as we all do, and as well as the student testimonials. So share success stories of students who overcome fluency struggles. This will help the other students realize that they're not alone and that everyone struggles as well. We are only human and everybody makes mistakes, and you grow and learn from your mistakes. So as a future teacher in my classroom, I plan to implement fluency building activities by incorporating weekly reader-theater sessions, using fluency passages for repeated reading practice. But before that, we all read quarterly as a class, and then they can go off into their partners, and they can decide if they want to read with their partner or if they want to read alone and their partner listens. Also by encouraging peer reading partnerships to foster collaboration and confidence. So I would like to go over some lesson planning tips. So create a fluency focused schedule, 10 minutes daily for repeated reading. If you have the time, you might have more or might have less depending on your day. Some differentiation strategies are to adapt strategies for various reading levels and learning styles. So some students might have to have a different passage than others. Also, to determine if these strategies are effective, I will be looking for improvements in student fluency scores, increased student confidence and engagement in reading, feedback from students and colleagues on the effectiveness of these strategies. An assessment tool would be possibly recording the students, if that is allowed, to listen back after a few months, fluency charts, and the records for progress tracking. So throughout this research, I have learned that fluency is not just about speed, expression, and comprehension, matter just as much. So it's not just about the speed, but the expression and comprehension matter just as much as that. Confidence is a huge factor in student success and the participation as well as if they feel comfortable in their classroom environment and comfortable with you as a teacher as well, who they're sitting with at their desk. All this play a part in it, as well as the noise volume. So it's really important to have the class at a very quiet volume while they are doing reading comprehension skills. Implementing these strategies consistently leads to significant growth with the resources that I have read. So next steps is to continue this research during my teaching years to decide what is best for fluency and the students. I would love to hear your thoughts on reading fluency, and if you have any advice or any comments or anything, I would love to have a discussion around this. Thank you for listening. I appreciate your time. Have a great day.